Hey everybody, this is Jake Mace, the vegan athlete, and I want to do an unboxing video with you today. I got a gardening surprise to show you guys, and I'm kind of excited for this one because I have a place for it in a tight spot in my backyard garden, and I want to show you guys what's in the box. I'm gonna cut this guy open. And ooh, a lovely package inside here. If I pull this guy, it's so heavy. No, it's not that heavy, super light. Even a vegan athlete can carry it. I'm gonna move the box to the side, put this guy down here, and it looks like on top here first, there's a t-shirt. Let's see what this t-shirt says on it. It says here, so what? thegreenstockgarden.com. So whatever you want, greenstockgarden.com. And that's what's in the box, and what we'll be building today together is a greenstock gardening system tower garden that is so unique and cool because it uses actual soil to plant in, just like my raised beds, but we can have it be a vertical raised bed, and I can't wait to build it, see what it's all about, and plant it in front of you guys. And I'm gonna plant this garden with primarily the City of Tempe free compost I got, and if you didn't see that video, it's right here on the screen right now. I think it would only be fitting if I build this green stock garden in the Green Stock Garden shirt. Oh, I'm back. This feels nice and good. I love how new shirts feel. So I'm really excited to build and grow in this garden today because if you guys have watched my Vegan Athlete YouTube channel before, I did a video on a tower garden that used an aeroponic or hydroponic growing method where they squirt a fertilized nutritional liquid solution through the tower to feed the plant's roots. But I'm really excited about this one because it uses soil. And so I can put worm castings and compost and azomite rock minerals and coconut coir inside the soil and grow as if I'm growing in the ground, but do it vertically. So I'm gonna build this guy right in front of you guys right now. I've never built one of these before. Let's do it together and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's all finished, and then we'll plant it together and I'll show you guys the exact soil mix that you guys should use inside the garden to make sure that it's gonna be successful from the very first minute the plants are growing in it. So I'm gonna remove the packaging first here. I chose this color called Stone, but they had other colors as well, like a black one, I think a white one, I think a green one. So check out their website, which you guys can get their information in the description below the video, and you can check out the other colors that it comes in. And this card was on the top here and it said Greenstock, engineered to grow. Fun, simple, efficient, a stackable planter that grows anything easily. greenstockgarden.com, 5-tier edition, strawberries, herbs, vegetables, flowers, made in the USA. And then you flip it over and it looks like those are the instructions for building it, which I'm gonna need because I never built one of these before. So step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 steps. Hopefully it won't be too complex. Let's get started right now. Step 1, unlock planters and pieces. So that's one piece. Second piece, and we'll lay all these pieces out so you guys can see what it looks like here. It's not a very hot day today, only about 90 because it's November 1st in the Phoenix area. So this is a prime growing season for us. The fall is my favorite gardening time, especially for my leafy winter greens that can grow in the warm Phoenix temperatures all winter, and they can even get a little bit of freeze as we go toward January. Step 2 for our process is to fill the planters with the desired potting mix, leaving about an inch of space from the top. So we're gonna go to step 2 right now. These are the planters, I think. We're gonna take these apart, and it looks like I've got a very tall tower system here, about 5 different planters. And so we can put the growing medium in each planter. So let's talk about the perfect growing medium or the perfect soil that your friend Jake Mace here is gonna help you guys with so that you guys can have your green stock garden be supercharged from the beginning. First thing is, in this tub here, I've got a block of coconut coir because I like growing sustainably, and coconut coir helps to retain moisture in your soil, much like peat moss. So I always put the coconut coir in the tub, and then I pour about 4 or 5 gallons of water on it. And that block of coconut coir will absorb all that water and turn into an amazing growing medium. I always do this first so that could be kind of wicking up all that moisture as I do the other stuff. The cool thing about this video is that my city here, the city of Tempe in Arizona, is awesome. We just uploaded an amazing video on our YouTube channel here about how the city of Tempe is taking all the green waste that the residents of the city of Tempe produce, and they're turning it into compost and giving it back to the residents for free so that they can use this biodynamic, organic, active compost in their gardens. And I'm gonna be using the city of Tempe homegrown compost for this project. So the base of our garden soil mix is gonna be compost. So I have a tub here. You can use a tub or a wheelbarrow. And I put a little bit of compost in there. After that, I want to put a lot of minerals in this compost. And so I add in the azomite rock dust minerals here that has over 70 different minerals, including trace elements. And it's a white powder. You guys can get this from jakemace.com. And we're going to sprinkle that inside there just to add some really good mineral content to this soil. Next, we got a bag of organic worm castings here, 100% worm castings. And this is like black gold for gardeners, and it looks kind of like coffee grounds, but it's actually worm poop. So yes, I'm holding worm poop, but it's okay. I'm not going to freak out. So we got all the worm castings going in there, about that much. It's at this point that that coconut coir has absorbed all that water. And what's cool is that the water that I added in that bucket was pond water from my fish pond. So it's gonna have a lot of fish nutrients in there. And we're gonna add about that much of the coconut coir inside of our mix, and then we're gonna mix all this up. The azomite with the homegrown compost from the city of Tempe, combined with the coconut coir, the worm castings, and the azomite. Did I mention anything twice? And that's gonna be our mix. Because we're in Arizona, we're in Phoenix, we wanna make sure that this soil is able to retain moisture. So the coconut coir is key for that. The worm castings gives us a lot of nutrients that our plants will drink up. The compost is freshly made from the city of Tempe, and that's gonna give us an explosion of microbes in this soil. And then of course the azomite rock minerals mineralizes it, because so much of the soil today is devoid of minerals because of the mass scale agriculture that goes on to feed the human overpopulation that's on the earth. So we got to remineralize that soil ourselves if we want to have the healthiest food from our back and our front yards. That's the mix. If you look at it, it looks like this. It looks really good. It's got a lot of fines in it. Some sticks and wood chips, but mostly fines. And it really does hold the shape when you make a snowball or a dirt ball. My mom always told me that if the soil doesn't hold the shape when you make the dirt ball, it's not worth anything. So my mom would probably approve of this mix. Mom approved. We're gonna take this guy and add it to the tower gardens here. And they said keep it about 1 inch away from the top. So I'm gonna start adding to all these bins, and I'll come back to you guys in about 2 minutes when I'm all finished. Welcome back. As you guys can see, we have 3 3/4 full. I'm gonna show you guys the soil mixture one more time, just to kind of brainwash you into gardening with proper soil. No matter what you use as your base, so I like this biodynamic, active, homegrown City of Tempe compost. You've got to always add the worm castings, the azomite, and the coconut husk if you want to be successful. The straight compost, which looks like this, 100% compost. This is 2" minus that the City of Tempe grows. And this is like your vegetable stock when making a soup. You got to have a good vegetable stock, and you add all kinds of other goodies into the soup to make it thick and hearty and have substance. And so after the compost, we add the worm castings. I always just eyeball it and add as much as you can afford. Then I add the azomite rock dust minerals, which is really important. I can't harp enough on you guys of how important the azomite is to add in there. And then especially for those of us growing in the desert, we've got the coconut coir. And this is a great way to add moisture retention to our gardening. Then I'm going to take this mix and get it all combined together. What's super cool is if you guys go to my gardening store at jakemace.com, look for the gardening store link. I got 2 different shirts, and one of them, the one that's the natural color, it actually has the exact soil mix to use in your garden. And the one that's the green color has the tree mix for planting a fruit tree. So I'd recommend going in there and getting one of those shirts that you can wear the formula on your body. And let's finish this up. And top this guy off. These planters have a really cool watering system that evenly distributes water throughout the entire tower. So I'm guessing that this hole in the middle has got to be clear of debris and soil. So I'm going to just take this stick and just make sure that all these holes are clear so that nothing's clogged up. Okay, we've got our soil mixture in each of our planters. But I noticed that it's about 2 or 3 inches below the lip. So what I'm going to do is what I always do in my regular garden as well. Is I take coconut coir and I do a little bit of a layer of coconut coir on top, and that way it's kind of like a little bit of a mulch layer so that it really helps to retain the moisture in my soil. If I lived in Vancouver, British Columbia, where I was born, or if I lived in Seattle, Washington, or Portland, something like that where it's more rainy, maybe like Florida, more humid, I might not do this because it might be too much moisture, but baby, I'm in the desert. So this is gonna be the little trick that Jake Mace, the vegan athlete, uses to successfully garden in the desert. And then I kind of just smooth that out. And this coconut coir idea is amazing if you're planting from seed, because the seeds, they just love to germinate in that coconut coir. They love it because of the moisture it's got in it. And then the compost is below the coconut coir, so then as the seeds grow into plants, their roots can extend into the more nutrient-dense worm castings, azomite, and compost. Stage 3 of our 6-stage process is place the plants or the seeds in each of the planter's 6 pockets and water. So here's what this is going to look like. These are our watering trays, and these watering trays are going to go on top of the planter like this. And see how there's 6 holes in this watering tray. And so each of these holes should correspond to one of the pockets in the planter. So this is a pocket, and therefore there's a hole there. If it was turned like this, then the hole would not be next to where the plant's going to be. So I'm trying to turn the hole right next to the plant, next to the plant, next to the plant, next to the plant, next to the plant. So it's kind of cool how it's going to be like a little bit of drip irrigation. And then definitely make sure that these watering trays are free of debris, because we don't want them to get all clogged up. If I'm going to be planting from seed or from plants, I want to put my plant here in this nice little pocket. So we're going to do that together right now. Let's do it. Normally I get all my plant starts locally from Suzanne Velarde with VelardeGardens.com, but today I was by a nursery right next to my house. They had a great deal on different plant starts, and these are plants that I didn't have seeds for that my wife loves to eat. And so I'm going to be planting these planters out as kind of like a gift to my wife so that she has a whole bunch of leafy greens and herbs in her green stalk garden. We've got some spinach, we've got some stevia, the sweet herb, we've got some lemon verbena, we've got some of my favorite kind of kale for the Phoenix area especially, dinosaur kale, very nutritious. We've got curled parsley, and we've also got Italian parsley. I'm going to use these plants to create an insta garden of sorts, and then any kind of gaps or pockets I have, I've got plenty of seeds to put some seeds in this green stalk garden as well. The cool thing about these plants that I bought is I'm going to really be frugal and milk this for all it's worth. See how there's pretty much 2 different plants inside this pot? There's actually more than 2, but I'm going to be dividing these guys out so that I really get my money's worth. And if you've got skills to pay the bills, then you can do that, and you can successfully divide these plants, plant them in your garden, and they won't go to shock, and they'll continue to grow just fine. I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now in this video. First, we're going to plant the dinosaur kale, and this is one that I know from experience can live for a couple years here in the Phoenix area. It will definitely overwinter and grow into next summer. So it's going to be a long-lived leafy green that will give me tons of nutrients into my cells, muscles, and body. I've got our first green stalk gardening bed here, and I'm going to put each of these plants about right here, 1 per island, or per lagoon, let's call it a lagoon, of the bed. So just push it out of there. The roots look really nice. These look like very healthy plant starts. And I'm gonna just dig a little bit of a hole for them and nestle them down in there. When I first began gardening, I would always pack the plants in so tightly, but now I just kind of loosely pack them and leave the soil kind of light and fluffy. And I found that to be the way to get your plants to be the healthiest and the strongest. This is like the best part of gardening for me. If you're not going to be meditating as part of your fitness and health regimen, then having a nice quiet Sunday afternoon like today, November 1st, of my fish bubbling in the pond, the birds chirping, nobody calling me up and needing me to do anything, just me in the garden. I love this. It's so relaxing, and it's kind of a meditation of sorts, and I always leave and finish my gardening session feeling refreshed and ready for the stresses that life will throw at me. So we're getting to the end here. 2 more. What's cool is that if you ever get like a 3-pack of plants, you get 2 3-packs. They were about $1.50 each, and for $3 you got your whole garden planted out here as far as the plants go, and you're getting plants that are probably about 3 or 4 weeks from seed. And so if I were to plant these dinosaur kale from seed, that would work too and be good. But this way I'm getting like a 1-month jump on the season. And there we go. There's the first bed all planted out. I'm going to do this the same way, and when I get to the plants that are to be divided, I'll let you guys come back and see how I do that. We only have 2 trays left to plant out, and check out these 3 guys. I always think that newly planted gardens look so sexy, don't you guys think? Looks so good, cute, and like a young child that's ready for the earth and ready for the whole life ahead of them. The plants are like that. They're young little plants ready for a whole life of wonder ahead of them. And so I have 2 beds left to plant, and now we're on to the parsley that has multiple plants in 1 pot. When you're dividing up plants, I feel like the key is timing. And timing in terms of put it in the ground and then water it right away, because the longer that you don't water it, the more stressed out the plant will get. So we're gonna turn this guy over, massage him out of the pot, and this guy is cool because he's nice and watered and the roots are nice and loose. They're not too compact yet, they're nice and loose, and so that's gonna allow me to divide this pretty easily. And what I do first is I dig my hole first so that I'm not dilly-dallying once I divide these guys out. So my hole is dug, I'm ready to put these guys in the ground. There's actually several plants in there. There's actually 4 plants in here, but I'm only gonna divide it into 2. So right down the middle, you gotta be firm, yet sensitive, yet direct and aggressive all at the same time. And some of these roots are tearing, but I wanna try to keep as much of the root ball per plant intact as I can. And see how it's kind of separating, and keep as much soil on the roots as you can. And so don't let the soil fall off if you can help it. And then try at the end not to rip too many in half, and try to get some nice roots attached to the plants, just like that, and then put it right in the ground. And now the clock starts. You guys have limited time before the plant goes in the shock. You got to water this guy right away so that there's no shock with the plant after you transplant him. So I'm going to finish planting out this bed in the same method with this guy, and I'll come back to you guys in about 1 minute to 2 minutes and show you the finished product. Okay, I've got all the Italian parsley planted in my tray, and I'm going to show you guys how I do the stevia. I love growing stevia, and I found that stevia does really well and it lasts quite a long time. You can get it to live over a year, especially in the Phoenix area. So the same thing, kind of pull the holes back and have the holes ready so you're not wasting time once you divide them. And then this guy is really going to be easy to divide. I can already feel it. The roots are young and new. And just kind of, you could just rip it apart aggressively, but you want to try to tear as few as possible. It's a living, breathing organism, you know? And so you want to keep the soil attached as much as you can and let those roots kind of unfold apart and just kind of slide apart instead of tearing them apart. And then I can just stick the stevia in its hole and nestle it in nice and comfortable, like tucking a duvet around your girlfriend or boyfriend. I never knew what a duvet was till I was married. Now I know what that is, thanks to my wife here. I've never built a green stalk tower garden before, and so I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish up stacking this guy. I think it's going to be quick, but just in case, I'm going to water this tray right now, just this one tray, because this is the one I divided and the roots were just torn apart, and I want to make sure to keep these plants calm. So I've got my watering can here, I've got soil all over my hands, and I got my pond behind me full of fish water. I'm going to just put one little drizzle of water on these newly divided plants. And this is just to minimize the shock. And just about that much. And that's going to allow all the soil to firmly nestle itself around the roots of the plants. I've now got a lemon verbena. I've got a curled parsley. I've got another stevia plant and one more curled parsley. And that'll be the final plants I'll put in the final tray. And I'll come back to you guys in 2 minutes when it's all finished. Look at that, you guys. The finished product, all planted out and beautiful. I'm kind of like Vanna White or Vanna Mace with my newly planted garden full of kale and spinach, lemon verbena, 2 different kinds of parsley, and stevia. This is going to be an amazing herb-based salad green garden. It's going to last all winter long and it's going to look great. And the issue with this for me is going to be, will this garden stand the test of time in the summer heat next summer? So please subscribe to my YouTube channel here. Hit like on this video, maybe even add it to your favorites on YouTube. And that way you guys will be notified by YouTube when we do update videos showing you each month how everything is growing in this green stock garden, and also how it grows as we transition into the hot desert Phoenix summer temperatures that can be up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Step 4 is place a watering disc on top of each planter, position the watering holes to be directed toward the plants, and make sure the watering discs are free of debris. So before I add the watering tray, I'm going to wipe it out and make sure it's clean, because as we've been putting these together and planting them out, we've gotten some soil in there, and now we got a nice clean, debris-free water tray. And we're going to add this into the center of each of the trays, and then make sure that the hole is facing each plant, just like that. How does that look, you guys? I like how the trays here say greenstockgarden.com, made in the USA. If you guys are concerned about that, then there you go, a nice USA made product. If you live in the United States, you can show your patriotism and get one of these green stock tower gardens. The green stock garden people were smart to make the instructions laminated, kind of plasticky, because I've spilled a lot of water on this thing so far and it's holding together pretty well. So step 5, stack it up. And step 6, fill the water reservoir on top immediately after planting and refill as needed. So this will be the water reservoir on top. So you got to choose which tray do you want to have as the pinnacle and as the apex of your garden tower. And I'm going to choose the dinosaur kale. I'm going to put this one on top. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to position this guy, and this takes a little bit of finagling, I'm thinking, because I have to put this on top without crushing any of the plants. And what's cool is that they've kind of engineered this thing kind of like a Lego, where they kind of plug into itself and plug into each other. So you gotta just kind of line up the plastic pieces just like you would do with a Lego set when you were a kid. And while I'm doing this, I'm trying not to damage the plants. So a little bit of sensitivity with this part. Nothing that the vegan athlete can't handle. There we go. So you guys can see now how I have this water reservoir on top of the plant. So what will happen is that these plants, as they grow bigger, will grow toward the edge into the light. So what I would suggest is, maybe I should have planted them about 1 inch further to the edge, but I think it'll be good because I did want to have 2 or 3 inches of soil between the edge and the root system of the plant. So I think I've got it perfect. And now as this guy grows bigger and stronger and healthier and more mature, he'll grow into the light. And I bet you in a month from now, when you guys check back with me for an update video, it'll look fantastic. My goal is to have herbs down below and leafy vegetables up top. So let's have this guy right here, let's have him be the base with the lemon verbena. I'm gonna take the other guy here and have this guy be level 2. So we're gonna lay him on top here and carefully put him on top. Maybe if you guys had some gardening friends, this would be a good chance to include your friends and have them protect the plants while you stack the tray. But since I got no friends today, I'm so sad and alone. I'm gonna try to do it on my own. There we go, I'm so excited. I stacked my first ever green stock garden. and I didn't kill any plants. They all survived pretty nicely. I'm actually kind of amazed at how everything's lining up quite perfectly, and each plant has its own little pocket. I totally want the ability to take this finished green stalk tower garden and move it around to fit the light, the microclimate, and whatever other reason I need to move it around for. So I got a base here that's on wheels, and before I get this guy too tall, I'm gonna pick this guy up and put him on the base. And there's a little bee right there, look at that. We've already got our first bee, check it out. It's my new friend. All right, Mr. Bee, pollinize all those plants for me. So that's how quickly that when you guys plant a garden, you could be benefiting the bee population instantly. As soon as the garden is on the wheels, the bees come. So now as I build this guy, I'll be able to move him around to fit my needs. I'll show you guys the last tray here. I'm gonna pick this guy up, put him on top, and this is how you do it. It will kind of rest there for a second as you kind of slowly walk around him and just visually make sure that each part is plugged in. Already happened pretty nice. And now I'm gonna walk around and make sure that each plant is not trapped and has enough room to grow into the light. Come into the light, little spinach. Come into the light, dinosaur kale. And then make sure that the tray on top is also not crushing the plants. I once heard a master gardener tell me, what's the most important part of gardening? And it's the gardener's shadow. If your shadow is on your garden all the time, you'll have a successful garden, which means that you're in the garden all the time. It's looking good. I'm 6'1", and this guy's probably about 5 feet tall. So a nice size, still short enough where I can access all the plants on top, and still high enough where I can access all the plants down low without bending over too much. And looks like I've got 6 times 5, I've got 30 different plants in just how much? A bear hug square foot of space. So one Jake Mays Vegan Athlete bear hug will give you 30 spots for 30 different plants. An amazing system that you guys who have patios or limited growing space can utilize something like this for a minimal investment in order to grow at home and grow your own food. Plus, I love how this green stalk garden uses soil. So I could actually plant the way Mother Earth does, in soil, in compost, in azomite, in worm castings, in rock dust minerals, in the coconut core, and that way the plants are growing in a traditional way with a little modern kick added to it. In a raised bed like this, this is a 3 foot by 6 foot, 3 times 6 is 18. So usually I can only fit about 18 plants if they're 1 square foot apart in a raised bed of this size. So that tower garden with 30 plants is growing quite a lot, almost double of what this raised bed is growing in a very small area. I just sprayed him down a little bit with the hose because aesthetically, he had a little bit of soil on the outside. I wanted it to look clean. And now I got my watering can full of pond water that I can pour into the top like this. Check it out. And I can fill up the water reservoir on the top. I'm actually not quite sure how full to fill it, so we're gonna be experimenting together. And I'm gonna fill this guy up as high as I can because there's a hole in the middle, and I'm guessing the hole in the middle is gonna allow the water to pour down to each successive watering tray as it moves down the tower. But there's also holes, little drip holes cut in this tray right here so that the top tray can actually get some water as well. So now all that water is pouring down, and I bet if we look down the row, we'll see there's definitely drip happening here. Look at that. It's slowly dripping in this one. We're gonna look over here and it's slowly dripping in this one. And if I go down, yeah, it's dripping in each tray. That's pretty amazing. I bet a lot of you guys that have some engineering background, or if you have a automatic watering system already set up, I bet for sure you can take a poly line, like a 1/2 inch poly line or a 1/4 inch poly line, and have it stick in the top so that when your timer turns on for the rest of your irrigation in your yard, it will also fill up the tray on top of your tower garden, and that way you don't have to water it yourself. But if you're like me, I don't mind hand watering sometimes, especially for something cute and unique like a tower garden like this. For those of you who are trying to be conscious about water, especially if you're in California, Arizona, desert-like climates like that, you know, this might be a cool thing to put on top of something else like some soil, to where any water that overflows the system can go back into your earth or back into your garden. But so far, I poured about 4 or 5 gallons in this guy, and he has not overflowed yet. He's pretty much all self-contained, and what's cool is that if I overwater the top tray, it'll then just flood into the second tray, third tray, fourth tray, fifth tray, and it'll kind of recycle the water for me. I love this system for those of you who are trying to be water wise. If you guys want more information about this green stalk garden, go to greenstalkgarden.com and check it out. They got a lot of good information and tutorials on there. Plus you can see the different kinds of tower gardens that they sell. And I really want you guys to get one of these, and then I want you guys to give me some feedback as to how successful you're able to garden in this unique shape. So traditionally we garden in the ground or in raised beds, but this is a great way to take some well thought out engineering and apply a modern context to more traditional gardening methods. And I really want you guys to tell me what you're growing in your green stalk garden, what's working very successfully for you and what's not, and we'll share together and we'll grow together. So check out greenstalkgarden.com for more. The links to check them out is in the description below this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit like on this episode for me, and share this with all your friends who are into gardening, and come back and check out my Vegan Athlete YouTube channel in the upcoming months. We'll do a monthly update video of how this garden is growing in the Phoenix area, planted November the 1st, so December 1st, look for an update video, and I'll let you guys know how successfully I'm able to eat the food that's growing in my very own green stalk tower garden. Make sure if you guys want to be sustainable, you go vegan and you grow your own food at home. You can check me out at jakemace.com, where you can check out more videos at my online gardening school for just $5 at jakemace.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys back here next time for our next video.